Jhan Magisa is a data analyst at TVNZ and part of the film production crew called Oil Slick Candy. I've had the pleasure of working on several projects with Jhan, and he's one of the most passionate and talented data analysts I've ever worked with. That is why I was super surprised to find out that he self-taught data analysis. Jhan was initially a media insights executive at TVNZ, and as part of his job, he often had to request analytics. When he realized he could be more efficient at his job if he could do the analytics himself, he self-taught SQL, Tableau, and Power BI. Unsurprisingly, since then, his talent has been recognized and he's been transitioned into the analytics team at TVNZ. Jhan seems to apply this level of craftsmanship and passion to various aspects of his life. This shows in his interest in game development, app development, learning languages, and creative writing. In this episode, Jhan and I talk about self-motivation, time management, passive learning, and much more. This is Everything Goes with Pascal podcast, and I hope you enjoy my conversation with Jhan Magisa. And we're good to go, Jhan. How are you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. Pascal, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning.
It is
Good morning.
good, I guess, except for the rain.
Oh yeah, I'm hoping it gets darker so we get better lighting here. That's my hope.
Let's pray for the clouds.
Yeah, and the clouds out there, but anywhere but right now. I mean, we're getting some clouds now, getting some shades now. Yeah, so hopefully we're getting some good lighting there. Oh, we're at our flat.
Yes, this is your first podcast here in the
podcast here. It's been a struggle, Jhan. Like the venue for my podcast has been a major struggle because when I was at my last job, I used their office.
Right.
On the weekend. And since I've left in my new job, well, there's like a security issues as you could imagine. It's probably similar to where you're working now, right?
Yeah, you gotta like sign up and stuff like that.
Exactly. So this is what I can do now. But yeah, this is a temporary fix because we're lucky because you live in North Shore too.
Yeah.
You live around here, so it's not. I didn't feel too bad asking, if you want to come over here or anything like that. But for those folks or for those like my future audience, my future guests,
right? Yeah.
They're gonna live nowhere near here.
Overseas.
Yeah, I don't know. Even just the other side of the bridge, the South Shore.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know. Am I gonna invite them here? Am I gonna go over? It's a bit up in the air, but you gotta start somewhere. Humble beginnings.
Yeah. Well, when the money starts raking in, you can afford the flight and stuff.
Well, this sponsor when the sponsor starts picking up.
What is it?
Glasso vitamin water, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, I made promotional video
for them.
Yeah, for them. With kind of like the highlights of my podcast with the drink in it.
Right.
And no response yet.
You should do like a review of the different flavors and stuff. Do you know Bretman Rock, the YouTuber?
No.
So he does because he likes coconut water. So he does like a review of like the coconut water brands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny. A lot of people watch it.
That's cool. There was this guy who made like, he's like another YouTuber who made like a Prime. You know about Prime drinks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He made like a Prime ad on his own.
Right.
And it was like super cool.
Oh.
And I think he did that, and and then KSI and Logan Paul watches that, and because of that, he get exposure through that way. And I mean, I think he's a super talented guy anyway.
Right.
But that's like, I feel like that's really cool. You put your talent to like something creative like that.
Well, you can start tomorrow. Start today.
Start today.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Sometimes I wonder, like, I don't know, like, because I found out. Have you heard of Marco, There's another YouTuber that I found out recently.
Marco. It sounds familiar.
So he makes custom shoes.
Oh,
Have you seen
yeah. I've seen him. Yeah.
That's amazing. What
Yeah.
he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like sometimes, I mean, you would know this, like us being in the data field. Sometimes, I wish I had more creative like talent, like like painting or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's unfortunately I'm not blessed with the the creative.
But
the
you
creative.
you do have a creative talent.
Oh, what is that?
Oh, that's the oil slick candy, right?
Ah, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I it's really minor involvement from my side, to be honest. It's really, yeah. It's not something I would say that I've created, but yeah.
So what's your can you explain for those people that don't know oil slick candy and like your involvement with it?
Sure. Yeah, it's just a plug for for our YouTube channel, Oil Slick Candy. So yeah, it's essentially my partner and friends. We created this short film, like a horror short film, and we've posted it on YouTube, so under the Oil Slick Candy channel, and yeah, so it's really, at the moment there's two short films there. It's like one horror and one coming of age, but it's really the about we have these like amateur people like myself banding together and trying to make a film. So yeah, if you have time, go to YouTube. Oil Slick Candy.
Oil slick candy, baby.
Yeah, and then and watch it. And I think I linked it to you last time. Did you have a go?
So here's the thing, John. So you told me it was horror, right?
Yeah.
And I'm really bad with
How
horror.
are you?
So I started watching it, but I was like, oh shit, I don't want to get scared at night. So I had to stop it. But I did watch the latest one, the
Right.
coming of age
Yeah.
video, and that was written by you.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was written by me, and initially it was gonna be like fully like romance, like cheesy romance, and then I wrote it as a joke, to be honest, and then I gave it to my partner, and he was reading it. I was like, oh, this could be turned into a short film, and then he applied his like horror kind of like vibe to it, because he wrote the first one, Blink Twice, which is the horror short film, and that's why if you've seen the coming of age one, it kind of has that weird eerie vibe to it. Yeah, but initially I had written it as a joke, and it was meant to be like a cheesy like romance. But yeah, it has that weird vibe added to it.
I was gonna say, yeah, like you say, weird vibe with the even the voice immediately, how it's like echoey. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, so actually that one was more of like a patch, honestly, because when we were filming it, there was because we filmed it at a primary school, and there was like mowing happening in the background, and it was just like so loud, so we had to add effects to the voice so that it kind of masks any background noise.
So it wasn't. I was wondering that. It's not post-recorded voice and it's overlay. It's not that.
No, yeah.
It is
it's the app. So we have sometimes for Blink Twice, the horror one, we did some post-recording voiceovers, because there were some instances where the sound just wasn't good, so we had to re-record. But for the coming of age one, the sound was pretty solid, but it's just that there were some background noises. So it's like the mowing, the grass mowing. Those big trucks that that goes to schools. That was pretty loud.
And of course, it has to be during you filming that.
Yeah, and because like we couldn't like move it to another day, because we had to get special, permission to film in the school and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you guys are professional. I would have just snuck in there, like.
No, we could have, but then usually, like schools, usually they have something on, and if people see you there, they're gonna be like, oh, who are these people? But and we were actually, there was this one guy, I think he was like the the cleaner of the school, and then he went and he was like, oh, are you guys the the one filming? And then And yeah. So yeah, always good to have the legalities in place just in
Yeah.
case.
Fair enough. Like, and being at school too, you know?
Yeah.
You don't know what, if you're gonna get picked out during the film and then suddenly the
Mm.
scene switches and you have to write around that. Like, what's the
Yeah.
lore for that? But I think that echoey vibe worked well with, I don't want to spoil it, so I'll just say vague about it, but the ending,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, that was the ending was a like we didn't know how to end it really, so it was like a last addition to the film. We were like, or just end it like this, because like we kind of had like a weak like ending. Like the original ending was kind of like, it was alright, but it was kind of like missing something. I felt we felt like it just cut too short, so we just added that. Yeah, at the very end, like last minute. Like it was actually my sister's boyfriend who was at the very end of the very end of the film who agreed to be filmed. But yeah, so if you ever want to pursue acting, let us know.
Oh,
let us know.
wow.
And then maybe if I write another one, I'll cast you.
Oh, let me know. I'll be keen to try out, you know?
Yeah, we need more diversity, and
Heck yes.
yeah, we're just literally using our pool of of friends and mates. Yeah.
Well, this sounds like my podcast guest.
No, but I've seen a lot of because I've seen some of your podcasts. You have like a few like big people around here, like experts and stuff.
Yeah, trying to. I guess I'm pretty lucky in a sense that I have had friends with expertise, and like for example, I've had Diana on, who's like a lecturer at the School of Comsci, and she was a friend, like she is a friend of mine, and she was a friend of mine before the recording of the podcast.
Okay.
So it was just happened to work. Like I just got lucky like that, and she works in that kind of similar industry as I do, and has similar interest because of that, has similar interest. So it kind of worked out for, super nicely like that. But yeah, I think my goal is that, I started out with first 5 to 10 episodes were just pure close friend group. But as it goes on, I'm kind of going to like the next layer. So the goal is to really like, if I find anyone really interesting, I want to talk to them. I can just reach out and just be like, hey, do you wanna come over? Yeah. That's the goal.
Oh, nice. And how many, do you know the number? How many people have you had so far?
So this is my 19th episode. So I've had 19 people on.
Nice.
Yeah. So getting there, they say 90% of podcasts quit after 3 episodes.
Right.
And 99% of podcasts don't make it to 20 episodes. Yeah. And I have some like solo episodes too, so I'm already over 20, but I think just seeing the like my guest episodes, I think 20 is like, I'll be pretty happy with that. It would be like my first milestone.
Oh, nice. And is there like a general like theme, or it's just pretty all around kind of like podcast?
It's I would say pretty all around. With a little bit of theme of like data space.
Right.
Yeah, but like my inspiration being Joe Rogan, who has from, he's got like comedians, which is his background.
Yeah.
To scientists, to politicians, to like the fighters.
Yeah.
I really like that. And I think that kind of reflects my personality too. I work in the data industry.
Yeah.
But like we said before, like that's not my only interest. I think hearing about you filming, the film process of it, and we'll get to it, but hearing about your like game dev things, like those things fascinate me. So I wanna, like right now I have some industries in mind that I wanna reach out to.
Right.
Namely, I wanna get more. I've been going to some comedy gigs in Oakland recently.
Oh yeah.
So I wanna get some like get into that space, get some comedians on here, that's my goal.
That would be really cool. I watch a few stand-up comedians on YouTube, and I actually went to Jokoy, that Filipino stand-up comedian. So he was here. Oh, I can't remember. I think it was earlier this year or late last year, but he was here, and then I went there. Yeah, there was like surprisingly, a lot of people went there, and I thought it would be mostly Filipino, but it was actually quite, yeah, it's, I think there were more, I saw more islanders, to be honest, there.
Where's he based at?
Oh, it's in America. Yeah, and then he like does like world tour and stuff like that. And he was here, and then yeah, we went there, and yeah, it was a blast. It was my first time. It was my first stand-up comedy. And
whereabouts was it?
It was what's that place? The one with Texas chicken, like Link Drive or some.
Oh, is it
some
in
area?
the city?
No, it's like, is it west? That area where where, do you know Teatatu Peninsula? Like that, around that area. I think that's west.
Okay. West Auckland.
Yeah. But yeah.
I feel like I would know the name of it if I heard that. But yeah, haven't been to too many venues around there.
Right. Huh. But yeah, you should. Have you been to one? To like any big stand-up comedy stuff?
Yeah, so I've been to this guy called Mark Normand. Have you heard of him?
Oh yeah.
Oh, so you're into the because you say you watched a bit of YouTube. Yeah. So Mark Normand. And I went to him because he's like a close friend with Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, and I find him funny as well.
Yeah.
And that was really good. Yeah, he's really cool. And I've been to Chris Parker. If you name like, he's like a New Zealand comedian. Right.
Oh yeah. I think I know his name because I mean I work at TVNZ, and
there you
sometimes go. I hear names of like influencers and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, yeah, that sounds familiar.
Do you see many famous people often there? I feel like you would, right?
I think I do, and most of the time it's me not realizing who they are. So I'm just like, so I definitely see like reporters all the time. But to be honest, a lot of them I don't know.
Yeah,
and sometimes when we invite people in, like we not too long ago we had this like famous boxer, forgot his name.
Oh, from New Zealand?
I actually don't know.
Famous boxer.
Yeah, he's a very good looking like boxer. I forgot his name. But
Tony Fury.
No, it's a uncommon name, but I forgot his name.
Uncommon. It's not Ryan Garcia?
No.
Okay.
It'll come to me at some point.
Right.
Maybe I'll blurt it out. But yeah, no, we had that, and we had the debate not too long ago. I think it was last week, but I wasn't in the office. But we usually have people coming in, and sometimes we'll have special shows. Like last year we had like drag queens come to the office, and yeah, I mean I don't know them, but yeah, we have a few people coming in and out. But yeah, it's mostly me not knowing who they are, to be honest. Yeah,
true. Is it because they are like New Zealand famous people?
Yeah, but also I'm not really good with like pop culture and stuff. I mean, I know it, but also I'm very bad with names and things like that. So I mean, I would have like an idea. Oh, you're famous, but I'm not really. I don't have the context of who you are.
Yeah, why are you famous? Who would freak you out if you saw them in the office?
Would freak me out. That's a good question. I think a lot of people. Well, right now, who am I listening to right now? I really like Nicki Minaj. I feel like she's a really good like rapper. I would say, and even Imagine Dragons. I think I think if I see them, and who else? I'm a very big J.K. Rowling fan.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I think Harry Potter is just amazing. The world building, and especially for me as a wannabe writer. It's a people like J.K. Rowling and Tolkien as a like really amazing wordsmith, like world builder, and I draw a lot of inspiration from those people. So if I see JK in the office one day, I'd be like, you see me running there, being tackled by security.
Sign these books. Yeah. Damn, I didn't know you want to be a writer.
Well, yeah, when I was younger, I would say I have a pretty imaginative, I have pretty good imagination, I would say. And yeah, before I wrote for the screen, I would write like novels and stuff like that, like
Yeah?
short story. And yeah, because especially in the Philippines, if you grow, because I grew up in the Philippines, I moved here like when I was 16 or 17.
Mm.
In the Philippines, there isn't really much things to do. So, so you go to school, you go home, and then or like some sports. Even with sports, we have very limited sports in the because we just don't have the facilities for for sports. So yeah, but writing is journalism is very big in the Philippines. So like every school has their own like school publication.
Really?
So and yeah, and my grandma was like the principal in my like primary school, so she's always like pushed me to join like the publication and really do journalism and stuff like that. And I never really liked news writing and sports writing. I just found them really boring. But in newspapers, there's like a section in the newspaper called the editorial section and the feature section. So the editorial section is where it's kind of more like opinion based, if you will. So it's still like news kind of stuff, but it's not like a news article where it's like fully what are the events, what are the facts. So for editorial, it's more like what's your kind of like opinion on stuff, like what's your take on things. And then the feature section is more if you will, it's more poetry, to be honest. It's more flowery, kind of like I don't even know why it's in a newspaper, to be honest. It's like sometimes you would write like reflections and things like that.
Oh,
And then ever since I was young, I've just joined publications, like school publications, and I always wrote for the editorial section, editorial and feature sections. And I guess that's where it started. And then just me writing, novels and short stories. I mean, I've never finished a novel. I mean, I write so many things, but I never finish them.
Okay.
And I did finish. I have one finished work, which is a short story. But just because it's a short story, so it's easy to finish that. But yeah, and then I have the coming of age like short film that I wrote. So I guess I have two finished written work, I would say.
There you go. Do you think about pursuing that? Because you didn't do journalism or like a writing. I don't know if there's like if it's called writing major, but
I think it's called creative writing.
Creative writing in uni, right? Did you think about pursuing that?
I did, yeah. When I was applying for university, I actually applied for so many things because the thing is, like, for me, I have many interests and I don't have that one strong passion that that a lot of people do. And so for me applying, I had a lot of applications. I did English and creative writing, then I even had like linguistics there, and then I even applied for computer science actually, and engineering, biomed. It's just like every like law, I just applied for it for all of it. And then I applied for, so my major was, because I did a conjoint degree in commerce and science, and I majored in marketing and management with my commerce degree, and then with my science I did geophysics. So so that was what I went for, because like when I was young, apart from wanting to be a writer, I also enjoyed like rocks and stuff. It's just like I don't know, like there was even when I remember when I was like maybe 10, I had two younger siblings that I forced to play like rocks with me. We were like pretending to be geologists, and I remember one of our bedrooms in the Philippines we've converted into like a lab with like rocks like all over the place, and it's just like
so what, you just collecting like interesting rocks and things?
We would collect interesting rocks like of different shapes and sizes, and we would pretend to perform like experiments on them and analyze them and stuff like that.
Whoa.
And also when I was in high school, I had this idea of, oh, I'm gonna be rich working for like oil companies and mining companies. So I'm like, that just like further solidified my interest in geology. It's actually funny because I wanted to major in geology, but by the time I applied, they had just removed the geology program. It was like, if I had applied like the year before, it was still there. But when I
Oh.
had, yeah, so they had removed it, and there was, and I really wanted to do it. So, and I was looking through their, what's that called? The list of majors and stuff. There's a term for it, right?
Is there?
Yeah.
It's been
like,
so long since I went to uni. So like, do you mean like courses or programs? Or...
yeah, there's a word for it. I think it's kind of like Latin-ish. There's a term for. Yeah.
Oh,
but
if it's
anyway,
Latin, I definitely don't.
yeah. Anyway, I was looking through it, and then I did see geophysics. I was like, oh, that sounds geo enough, you know. So I'm just gonna major in that. And then when I did that, I didn't realize it was just like physics.
Just physics.
There was nothing geology about it. I had 2 earth science papers, and that was it. The rest of my papers were like physics and maths, and then before I realized that, I was already too deep into the to the major, so I just stuck with it. And yeah, I mean, on the plus side, I kind of had developed my strong mathematical background, I would say,
Which would be useful now, being in the data space.
yeah.
Right?
And how about you? What did you study? Because you did math, did you?
I did math voluntarily.
Oh,
voluntarily. I did.
So
math
you enjoyed maths in high school?
I think I definitely enjoyed maths. It was definitely one of my favorite subjects. But back then, like, because I grew up wanting to be a football player,
right?
So, I mean, like looking back now, I had like a close to 0% chance of making it because I wasn't that good.
But do you play like as a hobby, like every now and again?
Like these days, I hardly ever play now.
Right.
But back then, I played every day. Tried to play every day. Even if it was raining, I'll be out there.
Yeah.
So I took it really seriously, and I loved playing it. So I like, let me try it. So back then, I didn't think about study. Back then, to me, studying was something that basically C's get degrees.
Yeah.
Minimum effort as long as I pass.
Yeah.
So that was me during the high school. But so my favorite subjects were not really about the subjects. It was about the people that are in the, how many friends do I have in those subjects?
Yeah.
And calculus happened to be one of those classes that I had a lot of friends there. And so that I remember really enjoying that class. Going into uni, I was still like, I I enjoy maths. I guess I'll take that as a major. I'm like moderately good at it. I'll take that.
Yeah.
But I think I kind of lucked out because I kind of like fell in love with it the first year, and I was like, okay, I want to study as much as possible. But I do think about this is me now having more interest. It would have been cool to take comp-sci, see what that's like. And I think that's the main thing. I want to see, I wonder if I would have enjoyed comp-sci. I think I would have too.
There is a YouTube channel because Harvard posts their lectures for free on YouTube.
Yeah.
And there's this guy who teaches computer science, and this is paper, I can't remember the name. I think it's CS50. And essentially, this is like, I think it's 10 lectures. I can't remember, but last time I checked was 10. And essentially, it's like the lectures from Harvard. And it's if you're interested in kind of like learning in an academic space, I would suggest going there because it's YouTube, it's free, and also the guy is really good at explaining things. And I don't know, it just makes you appreciate, because we work at data, and we're very close to the computer, the computer systems and stuff like that. It's really interesting to learn. So if I'd recommend checking that out. And CS50 Harvard YouTube. So if anyone out there wants to check computer science,
that's the thing these days. It's like so many free resources. I feel like when are we gonna get to a point we don't even need uni anymore?
Yeah,
We have
that's true.
Udemy, Coursera. I feel like those could easily,
Mm,
because especially with the data things that we do, because I don't really apply any of the things that I've learned at uni at the
mm,
like
yeah,
where I am now. And I think a lot of skills, you could pick it up by doing like online courses and stuff,
yeah, yeah. Especially for data, it's really more. I feel like it's really more experience, really more building your portfolio. I feel like if you're doing projects,
Yeah.
because you got to be, doing practical stuff if you want to get into data. Because I guess it's true for most jobs. Like if you want to be a software, developer, you gotta build your portfolio and develop your, develop projects and stuff like that. But yeah, I think for us it's really interesting because data, especially now, is like emerge. Like it's one of those hottest like field
Yes,
they
sir.
say. Yeah. So I would There's a lot out there. So even like I mean I've done Coursera and stuff like that, but even YouTube, to be honest, YouTube has
Hell
so many
yeah.
free stuff. Like follow along a tutorial of this, like there's like a few projects on YouTube that you can follow along, and even just googling stuff. And even now with Chat GPT,
True.
you can do so much things if you're curious enough. If you just go for it, and you'll usually find whatever you're looking for out there. Yeah.
Do you enjoy learning?
Oh. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I think you do. I think I almost think you are in a positive way. You're almost obsessed with it.
I think I'm definitely I think that's a good description of me, I would say. Would say even so, to the point that sometimes I feel burnt out of just like like I work 9 to 5, and then you go home, and then you still use your brain.
Exactly.
And also because like I go to the gym as well, so sometimes I stay too late at night, trying to fit in so many things to my day. So but the thing is, like, I guess it's just me as a person. Like if I do things or find things that interest me, I really try to make it a point to learn it as much as possible. And because for me, like I said earlier, I have many interests, and I haven't really found that like one, is like strong passion like for myself. So I'm really making myself available out there, trying to discover new things. And I love being in the data field, but if at some point someday I pivot to something else, then I'm all for it. I'm open. I'm open for new stuff.
Do you think there's one thing out there for you that's gonna get you hooked, and you're like, okay, I don't really care about all these other things. I just want to focus on this.
Yeah, I think so. But the thing is, like, it's very different from person to person. And yeah, it sounds very cliche, but like, I have this belief that, like passion, really, you don't really find your passion. You create your passion, whatever you do, it's whatever job you're in, it's about making the most of it and enjoying it. It's like creating that positive kind of like environment for yourself. But which is what I kind of do with all the things that that I'm pursuing. I try to make it as enjoyable as possible. I try to learn new things, because there's this guy who he's a maths teacher. I forgot his name, but he's pretty popular on YouTube. He mentioned something about there's like 3 things that makes you want to like be a teacher, and then one of those things was like mastery. And it's kind of like the same thing for doing the things that you want to do. If you're very good at it, you usually strive to be to master it. So that's kind of like what I'm doing right now with the things that I'm pursuing, is as much as possible. If I enjoy it, then I'll make it. I'll make it. I'll go out of my way to actually learn it, do certifications and stuff like that. But yeah, that's but that's just me, though. I guess if other people can, will have different stuff. But how about you? Like, how's your how did you get maybe let's start with how did you get into data?
How did I get into data? So my background is in maths, right? So I got off university. I did after university, I joined an economic research team. It's like a mathematician, statistician, research
Right.
scientist. And from there, I realized, because we started using data there, and I
Yeah.
started realize, man, there's so much things about data that I don't really know about. Because
Mm.
until then, I didn't know about cloud. I've only heard of it, never used it.
Yeah.
I didn't even know why we needed it, you know?
Yeah.
And all the technologies surrounding the cloud technology. And I wanted to know more about it. And that's when I joined a data consultancy team. And then when I was working with you guys at the TVNZ.
Oh, was that your first, like, was that your first kind of like job into the data science field?
Yeah, because it was you guys, the TVNZ were my first client.
Right.
Working
Yeah.
at the data consultancy team, and I was like, "Well, this is really fun." And and I felt like every day I was finding out new things. You can set up data pipeline,
Yeah.
and you can even within the data pipeline, there are different ways of setting it up, different
Yeah.
ways of triggering it, different people write different scripts, you
Yeah.
know, and those things I find that so much fun. So that's how I got into data. But I think data is really cool. But often I realize that I really like coding. Like
Yeah.
I feel like I'm the happiest when I code.
Yeah.
Like at least within a job.
Yeah. And there's this gratification once, when your code runs and you get to when it does the things you want it to do. And yeah, I think that's for me as well, because SQL and like Python, especially with Python, because sometimes I use Python to random stuff at work that's not even related to data. But yeah, it's really I don't know. It's like there's this feeling that you get when when your code works and you were able to, because this is aspect of problem solving as well with coding.
Yes.
Like you have to, like, how would you kind of code this? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I find that but one of my happiest times is like I get into a project and then I kind of find out what we need to do, and then they're like, okay, this is what needs to be coded up, and then I can put on headphones, put some music on, or put some podcast on, and I can just code that thing.
Right.
That's like when I'm like, oh yeah, like yes, I can do that. I can do that. It's not a job. It's I can do this for fun.
Yeah. Interesting. So with coding, I guess for now it's specific to data and stuff. Have you ever like thought of doing coding outside, like, I don't know, like developing an app or something?
Yeah, man. Actually, like I wanted to talk to you about that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, who better talk to you about those kind of things than you? Because for me personally, wait, I'm just gonna check if it's too dark on the camera, and
Okay.
I'm gonna turn the lights on if it is.
Yeah. Go for it.
Suddenly, it just started pouring. Okay, I don't know if that makes much difference, but there it is. We're back, folks. We're a little bit
ASMR
better,
break.
right? So yeah, with coding, at the end of last year, I got into. Yeah, speaking of ASMR, I was watching YouTube. I came across this thing called ASMR programming.
Oh.
It's like a whole new subset of YouTube that I didn't
Yeah.
know about. So
It's really interesting.
and it mainly is based on like the ASMR aspect of like typing noise.
Ah, yeah.
'Cause some keyboards sound
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So there's this guy survey. I'm gonna mess up the pronunciation, but there's this Turkish guy, I believe, either Turkish or Iranian, survey Gonaroglu. So there's this YouTube channel, and he has like nice keyboard. And
Yeah.
then he types it on that keyboard, and one screen is like him typing, and another screen is what he's programming.
Right.
So I think he's a computer science student at the university somewhere.
Right.
And then he codes up, like he does web dev. I think the main thing is he does web dev and a little bit of game dev as well. So when I saw that, I'm like, I want to do that. So I got into web dev a little bit. So CSS, HTML.
Mm-hmm.
That was really fun. But I got to a stage, I'm like, okay, I like doing it, but I don't love it enough. There's no goal, you know?
Yeah.
So there was, so there was my journey, and that's as far as it went. And we talked about it before briefly too, that I like watching other, like game dev. Other people like develop games and stuff on YouTube. Game devlogs. Those things are cool.
Yeah, it's definitely different. Like web dev and game dev, because those are like long term projects, unlike data science projects where it's relatively short term. But for when you're creating a website, let's say, that takes a long time to make. There's a lot of stuff you need to. So if you're really interested in it, then obviously that's fine. You'd enjoy the long process of doing that. But it's I guess there are like stuff that you can do that are quite short term, like maybe making simple like apps. You can even make Python apps that are quite simple and small. And those are just really start with like your own life. What in your life would you want to like automate? Especially with Python, it's very good at automating like things, right? Like with any coding really. But so I don't know, it could be creating a simple app to track your own, I don't know, progress at the gym. There's a lot of like apps out there, but it's like if you make your own, it's quite a fulfilling thing to do. I tried to make one at some point. I was learning some app development on Android. So Android is, because I'm an Android user, but because also Android is very easy to make apps for, as opposed to compared to iOS, because iOS is a lot of like stuff going on, and it's just more expensive, to be honest, to publish your app on, is it App Store? Which one's which? Is it App Store, Play Store?
App Store sounds right.
App Store. I think you have to pay a decent you have to pay some amount to publish your app or your game. But for Android, I think you only pay $25 like one-time fee.
Not bad.
And that's it. I think for iOS it's like, I can't remember, like $100 a year. Like a year, not even like one time. Yes. So I mean, I don't have any published app out there yet, but I did have one just on my local phone, because so I could try it and see how it goes. It's an interesting process, especially if you start with something small, like really small, that you can create in a week. Then it could be, it could be making your own calendar or stuff like that, or making your own, calculator or currency converter. Start with those things, because those are really interesting, because even though they're simple, sometimes there's a little bit of complexity ish, like with you still need to put on your like problem solving like hat on. And I would recommend doing stuff like that. So for game dev, have you started anything, or just like watching stuff?
Just watching. So I listen to stuff when I go to bed at night.
Right.
And we talked about it before. DevDuck. DevDuck is like my favorite game dev channel, and I like listening to his videos when I go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's relaxing.
No, game development is really it's another game out. It's another field out there.
A huge field out there.
And usually. See, I would say probably out of all the coding stuff, I would probably put game dev as the hardest. Not in terms of like doability, but because like it requires a larger team, I would say. Because unless you're that multi-talented person who's very good at designing and art and in coding, you can do everything, then and then it really works for you. But for me, because like I said earlier, I don't really have much creative, like I don't have drawing, like art, like visual art kind of like creative skills.
You're more of a written person.
So I don't really have that, but I do enjoy, because I love games, and sometimes you have these ideas like, oh, I want to make this kind of like game that's not available out there. And so I'm full of ideas, and I just want to make them. I want to materialize them into a game. But I think my biggest challenge really is like that. The art design part is like,
I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of these indie games like pixel arts.
Yeah.
Have you tried that?
Yeah. I think pixel art definitely is like probably the easiest, in terms of art design, but for most stuff, really it's a conscious like decision, that because sometimes pixel art like really works with games, and it really adds in nostalgia as well for a lot of people. Especially because a lot of the games, like the small kind of like RPG or tactic games, a lot of it is really nostalgia for most people. And back then games are like pixelated and stuff like that. So but thankfully I do have some friends who are who are quite gifted in the design area, so I'm trying to like get one to join me because I'm currently thinking of making a game. But I just need to sort that out, the art design part, to get someone on board.
And there's a whole side of sound design too. That's when I'm like, those kind of things I find cool when other people are into it, other people do it. But I don't think, well, another thing is I don't really play games.
Right.
So I don't really feel authentic pursuing a game dev, because I don't know what I would find fun. I don't know what, I think that's the main thing. I don't know what I enjoy.
Yeah.
But I find it cool when, for example, like there's this Dev Duck video where he developed a game over a weekend, or maybe it's over 1 week or something. And I think that's really cool. It's a super simple game,
right?
But to be able to like get to that level, and you can do something like that. It's a simple game, and he released it, and I think he earned like $20 or something. So it's not really
too bad for a weekend game. That $20, that's already a lot. A lot of games don't really earn much. Don't earn
anything.
So $20, that's a big thing.
I wouldn't mind that at all. And especially when you're having fun making that, and you make a video, like YouTube video out of that. That would be really fun. But I feel like I think it's important to do something that, to me at least, like something that's authentic to me. Like I'm not a gamer. Like what about you? Do you game much or
not anymore really? But when I was a bit younger, I do played a lot. But I guess even though I don't play as much anymore, I still kind of like enjoy like the art of like game making and stuff like that. And sometimes you just you have a lot of like ideas in your head, you kind of want to make them. And if you're if you're not into gaming that much, there's still a lot of like coding stuff out there. There's a lot of like online coding competitions that you could join, and usually there's a lot out there, and usually they have this like problem set that you have to go through, and like you have to create like a solution for it. And they have pretty good prices, honestly. If you win those competitions, they have pretty good like solid like prize money. So I'd recommend checking those like online coding competitions if you're just into that coding space.
I was looking at Kaggle. Because they have like competitions and prizes, right? But then that's when I realized, hey, maybe I don't like data that much, because I was reading through it. Because you know how they also have like a free ones. Like the Titanic one, for example, is like a famous example of it. And then there were people like discussing what they did and looking at people, what other people did, and like kind of critiquing that and stuff. That's when I realized, I thought I liked data. I thought I liked coding. And I think I do, but not as much as these people right here.
Especially you'd see people, they're really like passionate also, but they're really like knowledgeable about the field. Like, you'd think that you're very good at coding, you're good at Python, but then you see other people like, oh, wow. Like I don't know Python. I was like, no, I see that. I think I think that really comes into as well, like, with real world examples, like at work, like imposter syndrome and stuff like that. I feel like sometimes we feel that we're not very good at things when we see or hear people that are doing much better than us. But but really, that's why kind of like my motivation for like doing a lot of, like going on a learning like path for the things that I do is really to master as much as possible. But finding that balance is the hard part, because I don't want to burn out myself, and I don't want to pursue so many things. I just really want to go deep into the things that I just truly enjoy, because you'll just stress yourself or burn. You'll lead to burnout if you do so many things at once. You gotta find those. You gotta, what's the word for it in data science? Dimensionality reduction. You have to reduce.
That's the tough part, though, right? When you have so many interests, like you enjoy app dev, you enjoy game dev, you enjoy like data related coding. I don't know how you could narrow down to few that you could master, because you're not gonna master all of it.
No. That's the hard part, because like I think for me it's really about going down that learning path, but also at the same time trying to discover if I truly enjoy doing it, because most of the times you don't find out that you enjoy it unless you go for it and you do more of it. Like, let's say for game dev, I won't really know that I enjoy it unless I really do it. I do stuff, I do projects and things like that. And I think for me it's, I say trying to master stuff, but really for me it's really trying to discover if I truly enjoy it. And if I do, then I'll continue with it. And so far I haven't really found that that one field that I super enjoy that I'm like sticking with. At the moment I'm like pretty low key at the moment right now. I've like stopped kind of like all learning for a few weeks, because I've just I'm with work, even there's still a lot of stuff to learn at work with the data science, the data field. Sure. And so right now I'm just like taking it easy, especially I'm going Korea in 3 weeks time, so I'm like priming my my head, trying to relax a little bit. What
do you do when you relax?
Oh, good question. TV shows, okay. Mostly TV shows. Movies. I used to read books, but not as much anymore. And it's because I feel like for books, it's more of an active. It requires more mental activity than watching a TV show. Because with books, you're reading stuff, and you're using your imagination to picture things that are happening. But for TV shows, you're just there absorbing what's being shown to you. You know what I mean? Like for TV shows or movies, you're sitting there and you don't have to imagine the scene because it's already imagined for you. So that I work out. I think working out is pretty relaxing. But for people out there, I don't recommend overdoing overdoing things. It's definitely good to learn, but you have to know your limits, and you have to prioritize your mental health as well. It's good to especially we're in a generation of like grinding and like climbing the ladder and stuff like that. That's good and stuff, but you still have to prioritize your mental health, your social life, and finding that work-life balance. And I do learning new things because I enjoy them. And you should pursue the stuff that you enjoy, but you gotta strike a balance between all those things.
Absolutely. Like one time, I think when I was just started getting into YouTube and making YouTube videos, because and I think it's good and bad, but because we could work from home in my last job. I remember I would before start working at like 8:30 or 9, I'll put in 2 hours on the video.
Right.
And then so I would like get up early and then work 9 to 5, and then straight away back to the video,
Right.
and then go to the gym, come back, and back to the video. So it was like either I do anything that's essential to survive,
Yeah.
or I was working on the video, and
Yeah.
and like a week went by, 2 weeks went by, a month went by. Like I remember I was really on edge. Like I remember I didn't really like get into arguments or anything, but I remember talking to other people. I was like, man, I feel really like agitated.
Right.
And I realized, I think it's because I haven't been sleeping well. I haven't been taking any breaks and stuff. I started sleeping more.
Yeah.
Immediately, I'm like, I feel so much nicer. I feel so much kinder to people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. Don't sleep on sleeping.
Don't sleep on sleeping, baby. It's so important that.
Yeah, especially for mental health, like physical health. Yeah, sleeping is like the best kind of like, even for like proper eating, like your diet is like really the most important stuff out there. Yeah, you can work out, but diet is like what, is the main factor that affects how the quality of your life. Yeah.
So important. Well, how would you, because you joined TVNZ, but you didn't join as a data analyst.
No, yeah, it was my job straight out of uni, so it's my first like real world job. So so after uni, I didn't know what I wanted to do really. So I applied for all the jobs out there.
Even if it wasn't. Oh, by the way, help yourself to the.
Yes.
Do you have any preference to dragon fruit or mixed berries?
Mixed berry sounds good to me.
Cool.
It's another ASMR break from our sponsor.
But glass
soon to be sponsor. Yeah.
Come on. I think 50 Cent owns part of this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
how do you say it? Glasso.
I've been saying it glasso, but if I'm wrong, well,
maybe that's why they haven't contacted me.
Yeah, it's a glacial. So did you apply for even the ones that were not related to your degree?
Yeah, so although most of the jobs I applied for are related. So I applied for marketing jobs, I even applied for a geologist role. And I did when TVNZ offered me the job, I had 2 other offers at the time, and one of it was a engineering geologist, and the other one was in digital marketing. So I think for me at that point, I really had to assess which one had better growth for me, like in the long term, which one would offer me more. And if I went into a geology kind of like field, that's going to be me for a very, very long time. I can't switch industry that much, as opposed to if I did business related jobs, I could switch industries if I wanted. And there's a lot of jobs out there that are business related. So my first job at TVNZ was part of the insights team, and it was really more commercial focused. So there was we used data, but not in a kind of like technical like manner. It's really just helping the sales and the commercial team, the marketing department to use data to usually we'll craft some insights and stuff like that to help with trade collaterals. So there will be comms going out to the market, and usually they'll say, oh, TVNZ performed this well, we attracted this many people and stuff like that. But it's like very basic use of data, but it's really more focused on the insights, on why is this number important to advertisers, to agencies. And but we did work a lot. I did work a lot with the people in the analytics team, because sometimes we would require some advanced like analysis, and that's where we go for them, because they're the ones doing the coding, the SQL and the Python and the stuff like that. So we would go to them if we require anything, more advanced. And then I just found it like fascinating what they do, and usually they're very busy as well, and sometimes they come to us very like very late with our requests. So I don't know, like I took it upon myself to like learn SQL. Like SQL was the first thing I learned, and yeah, I and then I kind of just like fell in love with it. It's like it's like that problem solving aspect of it, of SQL, and coding things too, and trying to work out how to code stuff so that it spits out something that you're after. Like they give you a problem, like I don't know, like a salesperson comes to you saying, hey, we want to know like how many new signups went on to watch this show and this show at this time, and so it's putting that into code, and that was, I find it really fascinating. So I just kept learning it, and then I also learned like data visualization tools like Power BI and Tableau, because they used it as well, and I just wanted to what's the word? Yeah, I just wanted to learn it as well. So the Insights team at TVNZ, we use Tableau. So Tableau, for those who don't know, it's a visualization tool like Power BI, but at TVNZ we mostly use it for exploratory analysis. So Power BI, we use it as a dashboarding tool, so to create dashboards for the business. So it's like standard business reports. But for Tableau, it's kind of like it can also be used for dashboarding, but we mostly use it for exploration. It's kind of like a SQL alternative. So if you don't know how to code, it has a lot of like drag and drop functionality, and it allows you to manipulate the data, like the data, potato. I'm used to saying data because I grew up in the Philippines, but moving here, a lot of people say data. So I'm
What's
like,
more correct? I don't know.
Both are correct, right? Depending on where you are, I guess. If you're in America, you'd say data. No, but I find it, I interchange quite a lot. So it's really me, learning those tools so I could do more in my job, because I felt restricted in what I do as part of the Insights team. I feel like I could be doing more, I could be offering more, but I just didn't have the capabilities, like the technical skill set to be able to do that. So I took it upon myself to teach myself SQL and like master Tableau, and also learn some Python, and that's kind of how I got transitioned to the analytics team, because there was some point last year our data analyst went on a long leave, and we needed someone to cover for her. So I put myself my hand up, and then I was like, hey, I've been learning new stuff, and even my employers have seen that I've been gone more technical, and I've learned new stuff. So they've allowed me to kind of like fill in for her, and then now I'm kind of like here now I'm part of the analytics team now, kind of like more formally. That's kind of like my journey, I guess, into data.
That's really cool. It's not every day you see someone making that transition, or it's not every day you come across people that wanting to make that transition. Plus being able to making that transition,
it's definitely, if that's why I always tell people, if you like it, if you enjoy it, if you think you'll enjoy it, then you go for it, because you never know, you might actually that might be for you. So keep exploring, and go for it.
So was SQL your first programming language?
So well, not really. So I think C# was my first. No, Python actually. So before I went into data, I was actually already kind of like into game dev. So I haven't started doing game dev at that point yet, but I always kind of wanted to, I want to make my own game and stuff like that. And I would learn some basics, like the basics of game development, learning C sharp and some Python. But I never put that into practice. But SQL is the first kind of like coding I really put into practice. Like after learning it, I really, I even applied it to work and stuff like that. And then from then on, I went to Python, and then I applied that to work, and now I'm kind of more I've gone more deeper into the game dev side, so I've been putting to practice, my skills in C sharp and Python. Recently, so for game development, you can choose to use a game engine if you want, but or if not, you can you can code everything from scratch.
Game engines like Unity or
Yeah.
Godot or
Yeah.
things like that,
So there are a few game engines there, but the big ones are Unity and Unreal. Although Unity is under like fire not too long ago
Huge
because of
drama. Huge drama.
So but thankfully I had already made my shift from Unity to Godot. So Godot is another kind of like smaller game engine, but so game engine technically, like even with web development, you can make anything from scratch, but but if it's already out there, like a framework already exists that can simplify your work, then you use that, because it's a lot of the times everything is already like best practice, like standard coding. So make use of that, and it'll save you so much time. So that's the same idea with game engines. We have that to simplify so many things. And so I was learning Unreal, and the scripting language for not Unreal, sorry, Unity. So the scripting language for Unity is C sharp. So I was learning that. But C sharp has a high like learning curve if you're a beginner. There's so many, like the interface is kind of like, it's all right, but I just found it really complicated for a long time while I was like a beginner. But when I moved to Godot is like really user friendly. It's like, it even, you can even download it on your phone. Like you can have the game engine on your phone. You can make a game on your phone. It's like really crazy. I can't even wrap my head around the idea of having a game engine within your phone. But so I'm learning Godot at the moment, and I'm moving from C sharp to GD script. So GD script is the scripting language for Godot, and you can still use C sharp, but I just prefer to use GD script because it's like native to Godot, and you can just do more. Although the downside is GD script is just solely for for gaming, whereas C sharp is like more general, universal language that you can use for anything for other than game development. I'm really enjoying GD script because it's really close to Python. Like the layout is really close to Python, whereas C sharp it's different. GD script, it's like so much easier, especially me now that I have practical experience with Python. It really is so it's so easy to learn it. So if I'd recommend, if anyone out there want to get into game development, I would say start with Godot because it's really user friendly, and GD script, if you already know Python, it's easy to learn. But if you want to go even like kind of like more basic than that, I would recommend using Scratch. Scratch is this like have you heard of that?
No, I haven't heard of that.
So like Scratch is like it's for kids, I think. It's made for kids, and essentially it's like it's a game development website where it's kind of like drag and drop, and it's like kind of building puzzles. So like like the if else statements are in a puzzle piece, and you have to like match the piece, and if it doesn't match, then the code doesn't then they're not meant to be together. Like if and else are meant to be together, so their puzzle piece will fit together if you drag them together.
I see.
So it's really interesting. It's like it's made for kids to learn coding. So if you wanna get into game dev, I would highly recommend checking out Scratch and making a game out of that, because you don't have to know coding. You just have to know how to make the puzzles like connect to each other. It's really interesting. I'd recommend it.
So coming from C sharp, SQL would have been easier, right? Did you find it easier to pick it up? When you
Yeah,
learned
I
it?
found SQL really because I mean, yeah, SQL was very, I mean, compared to, other languages, SQL is like very kind of like it's
It's readable. Yeah.
language, and it has a basic like format, layout,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really, and there's only, compared to languages, it has only a few kind of like components really, so
Yeah.
it's really just
It's true.
purely for database,
Mhm.
talking to database, so it has very simple like what's the word, like grammar, and but compared to C sharp, because C sharp is like used for everything, and it's, yeah, you have to learn so many things, like so many concepts, um like inheritance and things like that. Just, yeah. And because C sharp is like, because compared to Python is like very English, kind of like close to the English language. It's very readable. C sharp is like kind of those more technical looking languages out there, like JavaScript. It's more technical looking. But for SQL and Python, if you read those codes, if you don't have any background, you could probably make out what it means, what the
Yeah.
code means, because it's very like, like close to natural languages.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, C sharp to SQL. How did you find the motivation? Because before you were saying like you do 9 to 5, and at that point you didn't need to learn SQL. So you basically did it out of like self-motivation, right?
Yeah, it's really that, and also because I wanna do more at work, and I really want to apply that at work, because like I said earlier, sometimes there's just it takes a while for the analytics team to come back to you if you
Yeah.
put on a request, and so I really wanted to really streamline that, and I want to do more analysis on my own. So that's why I learned SQL, so that I could do more, and I could, yeah. And it really paid off, because I even at TVNZ, there's a lot of analysis that I've kind of like novel analysis that I've kind of like set up and put into place after
Nice.
learning SQL. So yeah. So yeah, if you for anyone out there, I would recommend SQL, learning SQL if you want to get into data, like SQL and Excel. The MS Excel, I'd recommend learning that. That's your first, those two tools.
That's
That's your that's your kind of like basic tools into getting into data.
Yeah, we can't miss out Excel.
Yeah.
There's something that I'm not used to, and yeah, I don't know. I'm lucky that I haven't got used to that. I haven't had used to that.
Yeah, so because do you use when you work in the you said you were part of a research
Yeah, economic research team. Yeah,
did you use Excel a lot or not really?
there's a bit of Excel, but I was mainly there as like a capability outside Excel. 'Cause
Right.
until I arrived, Excel was like the main model, where the main models were built in. So
Yeah.
I went there to bring in some like Python capabilities and R
Right.
capabilities and things like that. So I used to kind of I knew enough to like know what's going on, but
Right.
yeah, I didn't really need to code it on Excel or anything.
Yeah, no, Excel really is helpful, not just in data. A lot of the jobs out there, especially in finance, use
that's
Excel
true.
a lot. And I think you can really, if Excel is like a big part of your job, it's really helpful if you could master it, because like it can automate so many things. I see a lot of people doing stuff on Excel, and they could be doing it much faster if they just knew how to do it a certain way.
Yeah.
Like there's certain shortcuts and certain like streamlined like processes in like putting things in place. So definitely if you want to be a data analyst or some sort of like insights analyst, then I would definitely recommend Excel as your first kind of like tool to know. You don't have to master it, but know the the basics and how to how it works, and even how to write some formulas, because Excel can have, it has some pretty good like functions out there, and some of it are like quite complex, and I would recommend learning the relevant ones to your job. And Yeah, and usually you don't have to know them by hand, but it's really, if you're, putting that googling stuff, it's as long as you know what to search for, and it's out there. You don't have to memorize it. You just have to keep asking. Always be in Google. That's my recommendation. Always be in Google or YouTube, and yeah, ask away. Even Chat GPT now, you can ask stuff there. Like if you're looking for something like a function to
Yeah.
do something, just ask away, and then they'll, you'll have it. So it's just, you have to put yourself out there. You have to look for the stuff out there.
You do.
Yeah.
That's the best way to learn. You've worked with Brett, right? Brett Manry. He's an expert in Excel.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's one of those that he doesn't need to touch the mouse.
Right.
He can do everything. He knows the shortcuts.
Yeah.
He can do everything on the keyboard.
Nice. Yeah, there's Excel competitions out there where you don't have a mouse, it's just keyboard.
Just the
and stuff.
keyboard. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that's him. What was your schedule like? Like when you are learning things, like say SQL, when you're learning SQL, did you have especially with your gymming as well?
Yeah.
Like how did you find time? Like what was your schedule like?
Yeah, so sometimes, usually like on the bus, instead of listening to music and stuff, usually I put on YouTube, and because it takes me like half an hour, like the travel, and half an hour is already enough time to learn something new.
That's a long
Yeah,
YouTube video.
yeah. So you can already like learn something in that travel, and going back and forth, that's already an hour of your day. So you can learn so many things just from those like idle things that, because I enjoy listening to music. So if I'm like, like if it's been a long day, then I don't learn, I'm not going to put on YouTube and learn more
Yeah.
things. I'd be like just relaxing on the bus. But if I have more energy, then I try to put on YouTube and search for something and just watch something.
Really?
Yeah. And sometimes if it's really relevant to the job, because I've done that sometimes, I would talk to my manager and say, hey, can I learn this on, during work hours? Because I think it'd be really helpful for my role, and I would be able to do, I'd be able to contribute more. And yeah, so you gotta ask people, you gotta go to your manager, because if you don't ask it, you won't know. And thankfully enough, like my managers at TVNZ have been really good, so they've really encouraged me to, if I have free time at work, it's not too busy, then I could dedicate a time of learning. So yeah, so it's not just outside of work, but also within your work hours. If talk to your manager and
true.
yeah, make a case for it. If you think it's really helpful for the job, then yeah. So that was kind of like my what my day looked like when I was learning SQL. And usually like after the gym, sometimes when I'm like relaxing, just because after the gym you're pretty tired, you're on the bed, usually I'll just put on like a 15-minute video watching it. So it's really those small things that really add up, because you don't really have to dedicate 1 hour or 2 hours like a sit down and just like learning SQL.
Yeah.
But it's finding those like spots, like windows in throughout your day, that's like little things, because they add up. Like
They do.
because like in a week, that's already like what they would add up to, like maybe 5-6 hours of learning. So that's already a lot. Because sometimes a lot of people, if they do a sit down learning, it's very kind of like reminiscent of university, and a lot of people don't like that, and then they find out they don't enjoy the learning bit. But for me, I found some tips of like, of like looking for those like spots throughout your day. Like if you're not doing anything, if you're idle, you could probably be learning, like on the bus, for example, you could probably be watching something. Yeah, like passive learning. Yeah.
Is that how you mainly learned? Watching videos on YouTube?
Yeah, I'm mostly a passive learner, to be honest. If I'm new to it, that's how I learn. But once I've kind of become more intermediate, I'd be more practical about it. I'd be doing stuff like doing a project and things like that. That's the same with SQL. At the beginning, I was mostly watching YouTube, and there's also pretty good websites out there. Like this is 3W school or something, that website. Yeah, so sometimes I would just go read that on free time, but not really full on like absorbing so many things, but just like reading it, like getting a feel of the material. And then once I've kind of like I've kind of like gotten a lot of like background, that's when I start actually properly, learning it, like coding it, because I kind of like treat learning as kind of like I'm a kid learning, because a lot of the time, kids when they learn, it's like they don't really get into the deep ends of the stuff you're learning. You're just like getting things like you're like a passive learner when you're a kid, like, when you're a toddler.
That's true.
And then you just kind of like get more into it. So that's kind of like how I approach my stuff. And it's passive learning is really good as well if you're trying to discover if you enjoy things, because you don't want to dedicate like straight away an hour or 2 hours of one day like sitting down and then learning stuff, and then because that's such a waste of time. Like 1 hour, 2 hours, that's a long time.
Time.
So I would recommend watching YouTube or reading something on the internet, and just going on that passive learning like phase at the beginning of anything, really.
There's something I've never tried that's really fascinating, because I've always been, I wonder if that would work for me too, because I've always been more, at least I thought I've always been more of an active learner. So you know how there's that thing called tutorial hell? Is it? I don't know if that's like
tutorial.
Is it a tutorial trap or?
Yeah, it's when you're
tutorial.
Doing tutorials, so many tutorials. There's a term for it. I can't remember now as well.
There's like a catchy term for it, but I think that the main idea is that you do a tutorial, but you end up just doing tutorials and never kind of making it outside that, right? I have the opposite thing. I can't wait to just get my hands dirty straight away. But I wonder, I wonder if neither of them is not good, and somewhere in the middle is better and most efficient in terms of learning. And I want to try that. I want to do a bit more passive learning,
because you're kind of doing that now as well, right? Like with game dev, I mean, you're kind of doing podcasts and stuff. That's kind of like a form of passive learning. And I would recommend doing it. I mean, obviously it's different for different people, but if you gotta try different stuff to find what works best for you.
Because sometimes I do find it a bit daunting when I have to start a new project, because I'm like, oh my god, I'm looking at a blank screen and I need to code C# or something, and I'm like, I find it daunting.
You don't know where to start.
I don't know where to start. But with passive learning, now that
you've seen the big picture,
seen the big picture, I know what's possible. I know what people have struggled with. I've listened to it in my sleep, literally. I feel like they would help a lot. Although I've never coded C# before. Or actually, DevDog, I think, uses Godot as well. GD script.
So what kind of like, what languages do you know and use?
For me, it's mainly like those data languages. So SQL, Scala, Python, R, MATLAB. Those are the main things that I know, and those are the ones that I've used kind of day to day at some point in my life, at my job. CSS, HTML is something that I picked up more recently, outside the job, out of interest. And a little bit of JavaScript. For the web dev. But that's when I realized that I didn't like it as much as I thought I would.
That's definitely true. For a lot of the stuff I'm learning, I find that I don't really enjoy it as much. It's like web and app development, because I did some projects with it, and I discovered, I don't really enjoy this as much as I thought I would. Like, and that's when I kind of like say, I'll probably stop learning this now, because I don't really enjoy it as much. And it's about, like I said before, if you have to try things to find out what interests you, so you gotta put yourself out there.
Because when I first watched that survey, Gonaroglu, his video, I was like, man, like I love coding, and what he does looks really fun.
Yeah.
I want to do this, like, that's something I was sure that that's something I wanted to pursue.
Yeah.
I tried a couple of times and I'm like, oh, this is fun, but it's not for me. It's not for me. That's when I started like interviewing people. That's why I'm like, oh, like this is not fun, but I wanna I wanna listen to other people's experiences.
Yeah.
Because I started doing the ASMR programming, I got into that like YouTube community of ASMR programming.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I got to know a couple of other people, and I'm like, oh, I wonder like what motivates them to do it. Like why do they enjoy it and I don't
Right.
enjoy it as much? So I interviewed like a couple of them, and then I'm like, whoa, like it was really fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, let me try get into like interviewing people.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm doing that in the form of podcast now. So this is something that I found most fun so far. And I guess because of that, I've been sticking to it.
Nice. Yeah. So when did you start your podcast?
So my podcast, I started it on the 23rd of May this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's been about
pretty early then. Yeah. Pretty early stages then.
Yeah, it's still early stages. So very, very recent. And then on YouTube, when I was doing the interview series, so there was like maybe end of last year.
Right.
But yeah, so and then I knew since end of last year, I knew I wanted to start a podcast.
Right.
But I didn't know what it was going to be about.
Yeah.
So I didn't know, like I had no idea, like do I want it to be like a data theme?
Yeah.
Because my first guest was like she was like starting a startup. I was like, do I want it to be about startup? Do I just want to interview, like what's my niche basically?
Yeah.
And in the end, I couldn't find the niche, so I'm like, okay, like let me just like, what do I like?
Yeah.
I like listening to Joe Rogan. I like listening to like different people.
Right.
So that's what I kind of went with.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of my journey.
Yeah. I've seen a few of your podcasts. Yeah. Good job on. Yeah. I think you're doing pretty well.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun, but I think, like you said, you have to have fun.
Yeah. Because I think at the end of the day, time, I feel like, is your greatest kind of like, what's the word? It's really more important than money, you know, like time is your kind of like, number one, like, wealth or something.
Yeah, no, that's 100%.
So you gotta make your time work for you. You gotta make sure you're utilizing it very well, because otherwise you're just gonna be wasting time, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There was one of my ideas for my podcast, because I was like thinking, oh man, time is so limited, so valuable. So actually, when you decide to do something, it's whether we kind of consciously realize it or not, I always say it as quite a bit of like an investment.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, this limited time, let me spend next 2 hours doing podcasting or watching TV. I don't think either of them is inherently bad or good, but you are making an investment, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, I thought about that, like what makes people, like there are people that loves cricket. Playing cricket. I've never played cricket in my life, and I don't intend to do that. It doesn't look too fun for me.
Yeah.
But there are people that make different decisions. There will be people that would never want to do podcasting. I just found it super interesting how like people make different decisions like that.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. If you enjoy it, as long as it's not harmful to you.
Yeah.
If you enjoy doing stuff, then go do it. Because, like life is pretty short, Like, I know it's cliche, but life is, especially with time always ticking. And majority of your time as well is spent working. So you got to make the most out of the remaining hours you have, the rest during the rest of the day. So, yeah.
Absolutely. How does writing fit into your future, John?
Well, I haven't written stuff in a long time. I think for me, because I'm pretty much an ideas person, I just have like so many ideas about so many things. And I think that's my biggest kind of like challenge with writing. It's like I'm just ideas and then not really materializing it and not really writing stuff. But no, I really do enjoy writing. There was this like drama not too long ago with AI replacing writers and stuff like that. And writers were in Hollywood was like protesting. It's so good.
We're back.
Another ASMR break.
Yeah, we're back to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so completely blocked out. What was I
You're talking about your writing.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so yeah, there was this like drama in Hollywood about AI replacing writers. So writers were like protesting and stuff like that. And also like actors, because you know how AI can now make like, you know, can recreate yourself, like, and so you know, with that there's this argument of, you know, not really needing actors anymore because like AI can create actors. But there was this protest of like actors and like writers, and so I think I can't remember, but I think the actors and the writers like won in the in that whole thing. So now there's this like, I think, agreement or legislation about AI. You can't use AI to, you know, to replace like actors and stuff, or like use AI to make the likes of actors, because you know that's a main thing, is like if AI can create a replica of Brad Pitt, then you don't really need Brad Pitt anymore. But
much
I think
cheaper, probably much faster, doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah. So that's one thing I think they kind of like they were fighting for, the writers and the actors, and also in AI, because you know with AI it's really about because with AI, you know how it works, it's like gathers information, and most of the time it's like kind of just like reformulating other written work. So that's one thing. So I think that's one of the agreement as well, that AI can't kind of like reuse other written work, because like, and so good for the actors and the writers out there. I mean, they're still they'll still have, you know, jobs. Like not anytime soon. AI won't take over anytime soon.
Do you think so?
I think I won't say AI would take over, but I think AI can really help you with your job. I definitely believe that, and I think if you embrace AI and make ethical use of it, then it can really serve you really well. It can, you know, save you money, streamline so many things, you know, cut so many like time of doing something. I wouldn't necessarily say that it'll take over, like replace a full-on job, like maybe in the future, but not, you know, not in the next 10 years. I don't believe. I think there's still a human like input that's important, you know, in doing, like, especially for writing, like writing any written work or other work like novels and movies. There's a certain aspect of like human complexity, you know. This is like emotion that's really captured by like the by people, and each, like, you know, each director, each writer, they have their own individual like, you know, like approach to things, and they apply their own own kind of like complex like emotional thinking into doing stuff. And I don't think AI can capture those things. AI can learn from written work, but I don't think it can capture the same emotional complexity as humans do when writing. I actually saw this just this morning. I saw this short on YouTube about, or maybe it was on TikTok. It was this artwork by someone, how AI is unable to replicate the work of this guy, and the reason for that is because the artwork had so many like contrasts, so many like kind of like decisions into why it was painted like that. It has a lot of like, you know, it's kind of like an English class, there's like some stuff you interpret, like like some juxtaposition and stuff like that.
Right.
And that painting had a lot of that, had a lot of like contrast, a lot of like meanings and stuff like that. And then AI wasn't able to kind of like wasn't able to arrive at a certain level of complexity. I mean, it created a very good painting,
Yeah.
but it didn't have that, that interpretability of this is like contrast of like poor and rich, or like light and dark and stuff like that.
Do you
So, yeah.
think it will only be a matter of time until maybe ChatGPT 20 will be
Yeah.
able to replicate that complexity?
Yeah, maybe, who knows really. With data, it's really hard to, with AI and data, it's really hard to see where we're heading. There's
Yeah.
always new things popping up. So who knows, maybe it's going to be a different technology in the future. So yeah. Who knows? Who knows really?
Who knows? There's this guy on YouTube called 2 Minute Paper. Have you seen that channel?
No, what is that about?
That he works in a computer vision AI. He's like a researcher at a university, I believe. And he makes YouTube videos, and his channel is called 2 Minute Paper.
Right.
And he covers mainly, like AI related topics, but mainly with the computer vision.
Right.
And like an example being like a generative AI, like DALL-E.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you've seen like DALL-E stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the advancement in that, and like for example, like Meta, like the Facebook company Meta,
Yeah.
they have like an open research, so he covers like what's going on in that, right, on that front, as well as Nvidia. They do a lot of like simulations and
Right.
AI learning through simulations.
Yeah.
Like for example, like how does this AI learn to walk?
Yeah.
How does this solve problems and stuff like that? So he covers those AI newses like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, super interesting. And from that side of things, looking at his videos, the advancement in that area
Yeah.
is very rapid.
Yeah.
Like one paper, it looks like, for example, I think one of the things that they have been struggling with on that front is, say, draw a person or something.
Yeah.
Then there are some aspects of the person that's harder to do, like fingers
Yeah.
or like hair and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like one paper down the line, it gets a lot better. Another paper down the line, it
Right.
becomes almost perfect.
Yeah.
So man, looking at that, I'm like, whoa, like it's just
Yeah.
one aspect of AI. What's going on in the
other
other?
bit, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like to me, I mean, data is kind
Yeah.
of related to AI, but I don't really do AI
Yeah.
modeling, at that scale right now, at least. So it's kind of
Maybe
hard
that's
to
your
know.
next project.
Could be.
You can invite me to help. Maybe we can work on it together.
It could be fun. They could be
Yeah.
fun.
No, but it's really interesting. Yeah, especially with with the craze right now with ChatGPT, and I understand the craze because it's really really powerful and really helpful, especially if you're a big learner. You can go to ChatGPT and you can say, "Hey, I'm learning, I don't know, maybe let's say SQL. Hey, I'm learning SQL. Write a study plan."
Yeah.
Like a 2-month study plan, and include links to, useful links, and ChatGPT will spit you like, an actual plan, like a study plan, and you just have to follow that. You don't have to like go like, like looking for stuff anymore, because like it consolidates information for you. And I think if you use it very well, if you know how to use it, it can really serve you, well. But if you're just using, I mean, you can use it for stuff like, oh, give me this, give me that, like code something for me. But if you use it for something that's really helpful to your development, then yeah, I'm all for it. I'm like, yeah, I'm a big supporter of like, of AI. And yeah.
I wonder, we talked about AI replacing artists and potentially taking over their jobs. I wonder how long after that until they start taking over like programmers and
Right. Yeah. I mean, who knows really? That's an interesting thing to think about. And Yeah, to be honest, I'm kind of excited to see how it unfolds like in the future, and how, it's even like with data science, and how how that field will look like in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what's it gonna look like 10 years?
Yeah.
Even 5 years?
Yeah, because there's this argument about if if AI can do it now, do we really need data analysts and data scientists? Because the thing is, like, if there's AI, then maybe subject matter experts can do the data science part, like like a marketing person can do it, as opposed to going to a data team or analytics team.
Yeah.
There's that like argument about it. So, but yeah, it's interesting. So we'll see.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens.
Maybe we're in different fields at that point already. So
Yeah.
maybe. Yeah.
So what's do you want to continue writing? Like, is that something that will be always with you?
Yeah, I think it's always with me, especially when I'm watching a TV show, watching a movie. I do definitely have an appreciation about the way it's written. Like, I'm really like one of my favorite, two of my favorite TV shows, like Schitt's Creek and Fleabag.
I need to write this down.
Yeah, so Schitt's Creek and Fleabag, they're very well written shows, and yeah, it's just like amazing. Yeah, the way they like the writers write it, it's just I'm really passionate. I'm really like fascinated about it. It's because, like, wow, that's like, especially with like with those kind of form of like entertainment, they're a form of like escapism. Like for some people, they read a book to escape reality and stuff like that. And I'm really grateful for high quality content like that. That's really like, for me, it's a form of stress release. But also, if it's like well written, it's an added bonus. And like, I'm in awe when watching shows like that.
When you say it's well written shows, do you mean the dialogues, or do you mean like the whole
so the whole story, like the dialogue is very, very good, and even like the story, the way it unravels, because when you're a writer, especially when you're a screenwriter, you're not just writing the dialogue, you're also writing the scene. You're setting the scene, how it unfolds. So it's all about that continuity, that flow of the story. I mean, obviously a lot of it will be into the purview of the director, of how how some certain stuff happens, but majority of it, how the story goes, is pretty much written by the writer, the screenwriter, not just the dialogue. So
it's this massive part in the making of the shows and movies.
What's your kind of like favorite? Are you watching anything at the moment?
Nah, I'm pretty bad at watching stuff because I can't really commit to like a series. I like watching like one-off things, like movies and things like that. Do you have any movie recommendations?
Oh, I haven't seen a movie in a long time.
Oh, you're more of a serious person.
So I'm mostly watch TV show, to be honest. Movie, can't remember the last one I watched Oppenheimer and Barbie.
How'd you find that?
Really interesting. I think I watched Oppenheimer IMAX, and really good movie, I would say. Really like the visual, the cinematography was amazing. And because for me, because movies are different,
How so?
Different is a kind of like different thing to TV show, because like movie is like they have to capture everything in that one movie, and it's usually very long. I find movies very long, so that's why I don't watch movies a lot. But TV shows, it's like cut into, like, it's partitioned into like episodes, and the episodes are shorter. So that's why I enjoy TV shows, because I have a very short attention like span. So if it's a movie, usually if it's boring, I normally would rate it very low, that movie. I was like, it's not a good movie if I find it boring. But Oppenheimer was like a long movie, but I wasn't, I didn't get bored at all. It was entertaining, it was engaging. And I think it's a really good biopic, I would say. And for Barbie as well, it wasn't as long as Oppenheimer, but it was loved it. I think the undertones, like the message. I think it was very well received, I would say. Yeah, it delved into some, some bits of like feminism, and I think it really did a good job in conveying like important messages. And no, movies is like a different thing for me. It's like, unless it's a really good movie, then but yeah, in terms of recommendation, I would recommend Oppenheimer and Barbie. If you haven't seen
If you haven't seen it, there'll be like one person out there in the
yeah.
It has to be asked, John. Oppenheimer versus Barbie. Which one did you like better?
That's a very good question. I think personally, just for me, I'd probably go Barbie.
Wow.
And
okay.
and I think for me, this is a thing for me, because like I'm a pretty like mentally active person. So most of the time when I'm watching a show, I really look for relaxing shows. And for me, Barbie was a very relaxing movie.
It was?
Yeah. I thought it was like a really kind of like it offered like escapism, and it's just for Oppenheimer it's like real life and like kind of like serious.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's like serious like movie about. It was very good nonetheless, but like for me, I much prefer stuff that helps me like relax and really like enjoy things without taking it too serious. Yeah, and I think Barbie was like that. Yeah.
I see what you mean. Yeah,
Which one did you prefer?
I think Oppenheimer was it's more my preference, like that style of movie. Yeah, so I would say I preferred Oppenheimer, but I definitely get what you mean by like relaxing though, like what you preferred, because maybe I think I preferred Oppenheimer and I like the movie better. But some of my favorite movies, like I love rom-coms, especially for that reason, because it's chill. Like I can watch it, and however hectic the drama gets, I can just be like, that's funny. Like. Yeah.
Have you seen that rom-com of this like Asian guy and his white girl? I think it's a Christmas movie.
Asian guy, white girl. Is that like a recent movie or?
Yeah, it was like last Christmas. It was on Netflix. I can't remember. Right? I watched it. I thought it was pretty good. Pretty funny, I would say.
What it's called?
I'll look into it and then I'll let you know. Wait, I'm into the rom-com like side of things as well.
Oh, it's not coming of age movie, right? Because I know a coming of age movie that's an Asian guy, white girl.
What's it called? Maybe it'll ring a bell.
I can't remember the name of it, but the main girl was Haley Steinfeld.
Right.
Yeah.
Very bad at names.
Yeah. I can't remember the name of it, but that was super good movie.
There's definitely a lot of like rom-coms or even just pure romance. There's like quite a few. So Schitt's Creek is actually one of those like kind of like dramedy, like drama-ish comedy, romance type. And then Fleabag is the same kind of like drama-ish comedy, but it's more comedy. And and if you really want, I would recommend checking Schitt's Creek. It's really it's really. I don't know if it's on Netflix or.
I was gonna ask, is it on TVNZ Plus?
I think it was for a while.
I feel like I might have seen it.
It was for a while, but I don't know now. Right now, I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, but no, when I first watched it, it wasn't there, and it was on Netflix. So I did watch it from Netflix. But yeah, it's somewhere there, like in one of the streaming platforms.
Do you know? Speaking about comedy and comedians, do you know David Carios?
No.
He's like this famous New Zealand comedian, and I don't know if he was born in New Zealand, but his ethnicity is Filipino. He's like the face of Burger King right now, I think. Right. He's like got kind of like a bowl cut with like round glasses.
Oh, maybe I'll check him out.
Yeah. He's a funny guy. He's a super funny guy.
What's his like type of like comedy?
I haven't really seen his stand-up. I only know him like there's this comedy group or like maybe like a YouTube channel called Viva La Dirt League. They're like New Zealand like group of New Zealand comedians and they make skits on YouTube. And they're really big. They're like maybe like a 1.5 million subscribers on YouTube.
Oh yeah.
But surprisingly for that big audience, surprisingly not that well known within New Zealand.
Right.
Yeah, surprisingly. And I've seen David Carrios. I've seen him on some of the skits on that.
Right.
And I found him really funny there.
Yeah.
And recently I went to this comedy improv show on at the basement. And he was there as well. And yeah, super funny guy.
Maybe is he pure like full Filipino?
I'm pretty sure he's full Filipino. Yeah.
Maybe I'll check him out. No, I do enjoy watching skits as well, like on YouTube. There's quite a like this is one, what's it called? Key and Peele.
Key and Peele is like the OG. It's so funny.
So yeah, so good. So yeah, I enjoy watching skits, like comedy skits all the time. Yeah, because they're not too long and they're not. Yeah, there's I hate watching long stuff, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, no, comedy skits, engaging, short, and to the point.
Would you write like stand-up comedy? Do your own stand-up?
I mean, I love comedy, but I don't think I have because for comedy you have to be able to actually write comedy. I think for me, I'm not too good at writing comedy. I enjoy comedy, but in terms of writing it, I don't think I'm very good at writing comedy. When I write, mostly it's like historical or like fantasy and romance. Usually those three topics are the ones I like enjoy writing, and I say I'm pretty good at. But yeah, comedy is like, some people are gifted with it. Really, comedy it just comes natural to them. But unfortunately, me, I'm not.
It's a different writing style, right?
Like drama, comedy. Yeah, that's why you normally would find writers usually just writing the same kind of like just sticking to either drama or sticking to murder, sticking to thriller, because that's where their strength is. And it's hard to find a writer that writes all genre. Maybe there is someone out there that's like so super talented that writes all the genres. But usually a writer sticks to one that he enjoys and he's good at.
True. So you are into, because I heard you're into sci-fi things too, right?
I'm a very big Star Wars fan, and Star Trek, and a lot of most of the movies I've watched is probably like universe, like space related.
What about like Marvel universe?
I quite like Marvel, although my only gripe with Marvel is like the recent movies is really like explosion of like cross universe and stuff like that. It's really hard to follow nowadays. I remember the days where it's like it's only about the Hulk, or it's only about like one like Iron Man, it's only about him. But nowadays it's like so many crossovers, and if you've missed one movie, like you've kind of probably missed some of the context there. It's hard to follow. You have to it's kind of like you have to have seen all the movies now to make sense of the new ones. I mean, you can still enjoy the new ones, but it's like you're missing so many contexts, I feel like.
Sure.
Yeah.
And series too. Because series, they're canon in the Marvel universe too.
Yeah. So it's like really hard, and there's also animated ones. So it's like there's so many things out there. But yeah, if you're a big Marvel fan, then and if you've seen all of the movies out there, then that's like really, kudos to you. I feel like I just couldn't, like, there's so many stuff out there nowadays.
There's so much stuff. I do have a friend. So I have a friend who's really into Marvel,
right?
And he's like a MCU, connoisseur,
right?
Yeah, so he watches all the movies, all the series and stuff.
Have you invited him to your podcast to talk about Marvel?
He's actually a podcaster.
Is he?
Yeah, shout out to Shane I don't know. I actually don't know his last name, but Shikishane is his nickname.
Right.
He's actually half Filipino.
Oh, is
Half
he?
Filipino, yeah. So him and his friend Jack, they've got a podcast called Handi Handi Hippos.
Right.
Yeah, really, because they are like comedians.
Yeah.
And it's like a comedy podcast talking about like pop culture things.
Yeah.
Focused a lot on the MCU projects.
Right.
And yeah, no, it's a great podcast, and yeah, it's and he says that there are a lot of series and a lot of movies, and like you said, this movie references like something from this series or something.
Yeah.
He said it's a lot to track, but the payoff you get, when you're like, oh shit, like that person or that object is in this movie. I saw that one, like this series like 2 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
He says that payoff is what makes it like worth it. I can see that. I'm not that big a fan. I haven't seen like WandaVision and things like that.
I've seen Wanda. It's pretty good. WandaVision.
You like the WandaVision?
Yeah.
I've seen like the first episode, and a lot of people said they didn't like the first 2 episodes.
Right.
But I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
It's like cool.
It was like a breath of fresh air. Even like it's a very unique take, I would say. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Yeah, I think even for that, it really works. Just with especially you would notice like learning mathematics is like you really need those like foundation and stuff. You need to go through them, because otherwise, if a lot of the stuff won't make sense to you. And it's very true with maths. Is like I see a lot of growing up. I would say I'm pretty good at maths, but I remember growing up, I would see friends like struggle, and the reason why they struggle is because they don't have that foundational knowledge. Yeah. Like so you gotta like really learn the foundations before you go into the other stuff, the more advanced stuff. Yeah,
I would say that's 100% true. Like, because I've tutored math at the uni, and often when I see people struggling, when I take them through like the little steps, it's like simple as like everyone can get that. Yeah, but just breaking down to those simple steps was the hardest.
Yeah, because I remember when I was in the Philippines, I had this like classmate. We were third year high school, and she didn't know how to do long division. We were already third year high school, and she didn't know long division, and so no wonder she was like struggling with algebra, because if those very basic stuff that you should probably have learned in primary, that if you don't know that, then how much more like algebra, like you know what I mean.
That's that's in the deep end, but that's interesting. Like I think education, sometimes it's gonna be like that when you teach like a class of 30 kids. Yeah, the one teacher can track so much, right? Yeah, you can't track everyone.
So growing up, you said you kind of like you did calculus. I'm assuming that's in high school, because most of your friends are in there. But did you kind of like enjoy maths before that, like growing up?
I don't know if hard to say. I think I enjoy that. I think it's kind of like looking back, gives me similar memory as programming. Like I think I enjoyed the problem solving and stuff. Yeah. But what I struggle with is that my parents, for some reason, put a lot of emphasis on maths out of all subjects when I was growing up.
So typical Asian.
Asian also. That's typical, right? Like putting maths, because I remember they never maths and English. Yeah, those two things. Like physics, they didn't care. Yeah, chemistry, biology, no. Maths, you have to do this worksheet. I'm like, why maths? Like I remember thinking that. Yeah. So I don't know if it's like engraved in me. But growing up, I didn't know if I really like, this is my subject.
Yeah, I would say the same for me. So I'm not gonna. I won't say I really loved maths, but I would say compared to the other subjects, I definitely enjoyed it, because for one, there's no memorization, compared to biology or
Yeah.
like physics. You have to remember so many things. But for maths, as long as you just understand the workings, then
I love that.
it's just you working out stuff like problem solving, like. But yeah, for a lot of the other subjects like history, it's like, oh, you have to memorize this, you have to read this. So that's why I kind of like enjoyed maths in that aspect of like simplicity and like, here's the thing, I kind of consider myself a pretty lazy person. Like, I mean, I'm pretty good at learning, I would say, but most of the times I'm really lazy. That's why as much as possible when I'm learning or when I'm doing things, I try to make sure I'm doing it very like in a short time, even with like, I watch TV shows because I'm like, I get lazy of like sitting down there for like long time. So I try to make as much as possible the things that I do. I try to finish them at a short like period of time. So with maths, it's like that, I didn't have to sit down and read a history book and like memorize the stuff.
Jhan, let's wrap this up soon, but before that, I gotta pee really bad. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
How'd you like the drink, Jhan?
It's pretty good.
Not too bad, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad.
It's very light, I would
It's
say.
pretty light, eh?
It's not, because most of the time some drinks are quite sweet.
I
don't
know.
Yeah. This one's really good.
Yeah, that's why I quite like it. And that's feedback I get from other people that drink it too. So growing up, Jhan, like looking back at when you were younger, like how actually let me close that toilet door. This is making a lot of noise after I flushed it. I'm back again.
Another quick ASMR break.
Looking back at when you're younger and what you enjoyed and things like that, how different is it to that and now?
Very different.
Because like you were saying, you're talking about like learning maths and enjoying that.
Yeah, very, very different. I mean, I did say I don't like the memorization part, but I actually growing up, I actually like history. Like I at some point while I was in high school, I kind of wanted to be a history teacher because I just found it really fascinating, like old stuff and ancient stuff. I just find it really like fascinating. That's probably in part why I liked geology, because geology is heavily like historical as well, like explaining historical stuff and like the history of Earth and how rocks are formed, how the continents and stuff like that. And so and I think it's pretty normal for people to go through different interests throughout there's this like I don't know if it's true, but I think I've heard it from somewhere or read it from somewhere that your taste buds like change like every 7 years or something like that. So like what you like now in 7 years time or something, it's probably gonna change. And I find it really true because like when I was young, I didn't like marshmallows, and then now I kind of like it. Yeah, I quite enjoy it. Yeah, so you definitely change your interest, like the food that you like to eat. And vegetables, growing up I didn't like them, but vegetables actually really good. As much as possible I eat vegetables because I just find it really good, like not just like health wise, but just like the taste of it and stuff like that. So completely different. Like data is not something I've envisioned myself, my younger self to be in. It's just something I've kind of like fell into, I guess. And I guess that's the important bit really, when it's important. I mean, it's true for most of aspects of life, is like go with the flow, enjoy things, do things, because if you don't do things, you won't discover yourself.
Did you think about, because you've been doing a lot of data analysis, did you think about doing like a data science, like building machine learning models?
So I did actually learn machine learning and data science. I did some simple projects, but it's not something I enjoyed really, because I think it's a natural transition from data analyst to data scientist. I know there's a lot of people who do that transition. It's quite natural. For me, I did kind of dabble as well with, you know, data science, with machine learning, and especially with me learning Python, it's like, you know, it's kind of just like a gradual shift to it. So I did try to learn it, and I just didn't find it as, you know, interesting. I feel for me it just went too much into the weeds of like the technical side of things. And for me, I enjoy the commercial aspect of my current role, and it's a nice balance between commercial and like the commercial mindset and like technical skills. And yeah, that's why I never really went into that path. But yeah, but it's definitely for people out there, it's they do find that data science is like for them. Then happy for them. That's why you always have to like do the things and to discover that if you enjoy it. Yeah.
You are like a rare species in the data world, though, because a lot of people get fascinated by. Everyone wants to do machine learning.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true. Yeah, but for me, I just because like I said, I'm quite like lazy and stuff like that, and as much as possible, I mean, I would say I'm a pretty logical person, but most of the time, I don't really want a job that's like mentally taxing. You could definitely be good at, you know, being a data scientist, but for me, like it requires more mental activity than being a data analyst. You know, I mean, not downgrading data analysts and stuff like that. I think they're equally important and they have unique skill sets, but for me, I didn't want to transition into that and really drop the stuff that I enjoy right now, like the commercial aspect of things and the business side of things. I didn't really want to drop that, and because that's something I actually truly enjoy. Because in addition to doing technical bits, I also enjoy, you know, like stakeholder management. I do enjoy like insights from like commercial point of view. Yeah,
that's fair. Well, it's like I think a lot of people would appreciate you being in the data space, you know, like, and I think, to me, I come from the data science background, but I've built a lot of appreciation for data analysis, and as well as data engineering. I think there's a lot of cool things in that I really enjoyed.
Yeah, because even with data engineering, that's an interesting like side of things as well. Because, excuse me, I also even like dabbled in that, you know, that side of data, and I learned, you know, different like stuff, like even verging on software engineering, because a lot of the data engineering bit is like really software engineering. And it's, I just find that it's not really something I, you know, enjoy, and that's it. So that's why I'm here. I'm staying in as a data analyst, and who knows, maybe, you know, in the future it'll be something else. But it's definitely not data scientist or data engineer, because I tried but it just didn't pan out for me.
You said you think about getting into the software engineering a little bit, right?
So for that one, it was mostly really just for my love of coding, like you. But that's why I'm kind of like trying out web dev, app dev, and like game dev. Like definitely not web and app, because I tried them. I probably enjoyed app dev more than web, but it's not something I fully like enjoy as being a data analyst. Because data analyst, I do like my job right now. I thoroughly enjoy it. But but app dev, it's enjoyable, but not to the same extent as what I'm getting from my current role.
Right.
Yeah, and who knows? But game dev, I'm kind of like, it's kind of like a side thing right now. I'm like kind of doing it, but not really. I'm currently on a hiatus right now, so I'm on not learning anything new at the moment.
Would you want to earn money off those?
that would be good, but not real. But it's not a priority for me. But but game dev is a good like passive like income. You know, a lot of if you. But the thing is, like, it's very hard to market your game. A lot of the games don't earn at all because the market is saturated with because it's very easy to make and publish games like nowadays. So it's just saturated with so loads of like games and apps. So it's hard for people to like see your game, you know. And most of the time an average person would only really use like 6 or 7, you know, apps on their phone, and they toggle between those apps and they don't really use anything new. So it's like it would be good if I could earn money, but but I don't know.
I think ideal situation is like that dev duck situation, like you make a game over like a week or a weekend, and then you earn $10.
No, and also like that one as well is like making it into a YouTube channel or a podcast. I think that's something you're passionate about, because that's also a passive income, like, you know, YouTube and podcasts and music. That's the one, because you're earning money from the game you make, but also you're earning money from your channels, and it's all those passive incomes that, you know, add up and stuff. Yeah.
For me, it's passive outcome at the moment.
So how many do you have any statistics on how many listeners do you have?
Yeah, so I've got the YouTube channel that I was talking about earlier that I started last year. Yeah, that one's actually gone over, I think, 1.1K. So that's got pretty good followers. But for that one, because you need 2 categories before you start earning on YouTube. Right. One is 1K subscribers, which I got that. The other one is, I think it's 10,000 hours of your videos being watched. Right. And I think I'm close to it, but I haven't got that yet. So so that's the situation with my first one. And the second one I started for this podcast. Yeah. I've got 28 subscribers on Spotify. Right. And 14 subscribers on my YouTube. So collectively, and there's bound to be some overlap there. But if we assume that there was distinct subscribers, right? 32 subscribers.
Oh, pretty good.
So 42 subscribers.
Nice,
so those are that. So, but weirdly, I value subscribers on my Spotify more. Right. Because I feel like the conversion is much better than YouTube subscribers. Right. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
And I guess for podcasts it's very I feel like it's very more natural, you know, on Spotify, like just purely audio and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. Unless you're like a big podcaster like Joe Rogan, obviously people would enjoy seeing you as well, like your reactions to things, you know.
Exactly. I get more views on YouTube, surprisingly. Right. Like so that's why I like post it up there as well. So I'm hoping I can do both, and I'm exposed to both, and then the audiences from YouTube gets converted to Spotify and so on. But the most successful platform so far has been LinkedIn.
Oh, really?
That's because I got Instagram as well. Right. But for that, I don't know, maybe it's like the algorithm thing, but like it's like a long form as well, so I don't know if that really resonates with Instagram audience. Because even if you look at Joe Rogan podcast, which the page has got like 3 millions of followers, but if you look at the likes, it's not that much. So I don't know if like the long form podcast really translates to Instagram audience. So that's why I like extended that out to LinkedIn, and I get much more engagement that way.
Right. I think for Instagram I have seen a few podcasts. What's their name? This is like couple who do podcasts. The girl's like Christina Perry or something. Okay. I forgot the other guy's name.
What's their podcast about?
I like random stuff, really, but they're like they're a couple, right? And I forgot the name. It's like tip of my tongue, but anyway, they have an Instagram page as well, but it's really snippets. Like they really cut the best parts and just like, yeah, I guess it's a lot of hard work to like edit it and like make it, like for Instagram, because a lot of people, Instagram and TikTok, it's a very like short, attention span. So it's just, really, taking that long form and really cutting it into those bite-sized like snippets. Yeah,
definitely. So it's fun though. It's fun experimenting with different.
That's good.
Yeah. But Jhan, I really appreciate you being here.
No, thank you for having me.
It was my pleasure. I think from the first time I heard, when we were working together, from the first time I heard you self-taught your way into data analysis, I've been wanting to talk to you, but I didn't know, especially when I was working my last job, because you're one of our clients. I was like, okay, what's the boundary here? I need to worry about that. But since I left my last job, I was like, let's get Jhan on this. I really want to hear your experience. You're transitioning into data analysis, self-teaching. And I know you are like, you say you're lazy, Jhan, but one thing you can't argue against is that you seem really motivated to learn things and stuff, which to me is super cool.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the podcast, and Glasso vitamin water. Before we go away, do you have any plug? We talked about Oil Slick Candy. Yeah, so YouTube Oil Slick Candy. Go there. I think we have over 4K subscribers. You guys have a lot. Is that just from those two films? Yeah. Wow. So so if you check that out, we've got 2 short films right now, 1 horror, 1 coming of age, and then I guess that's really my plug. I don't have anything else. Do you guys have like Instagram page? We do. I think it's also called Oil Slick Candy. Cool. Yeah. So check those out. Instagram and YouTube, and cool. And are you on LinkedIn, Jhan? Do you want to get that out there? Yeah, sure. I'm on LinkedIn as well. Jhan, Jhan, and my last name Magisa, Magisa. Reach out to me if you want to learn more about getting into the data field. Feel free to reach out to me. I'll give some solid advice. Heck hopefully. Yes. Especially those folks out there who's not from the like data background but want to get into data. You'll be a super good resource. Yeah, definitely. Reach out. Networking is key, is ever important. It's very important key. Is your who's Jhan Magisa? Oh, that's my sister. That's your sister? Yeah. That's so cool. It's actually funny because she did biomed. She did first year of biomed, but she didn't enjoy it, and then I pushed her to change to computer science because I said it's gonna be enjoyable. There's a lot of jobs out there. She switched and then she's loving it. So she's at uni now. Yeah, she's at uni right now. She's a comp sci major, and best decision, she said, transitioning. First year comp sci. I think she's 3rd year now. 3rd year comp sci. Wow, good on her. I'm so jealous. I was talking about we were talking about taking comp sci and stuff. Good on her, living the dream. Yeah, I thought I saw her name in the description, and I was like, "Oh, they misspelled your name." No, that is my sister. Yeah. It's actually short for something, but my name Jhan is just Jhan. It's not short for something. And she's Jhan. With the M. Oh, great having you, Jhan. Thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you. Bye, everyone. See ya. Thank you for listening to my conversation with Jhan Magisa, and thank you, Jhan, for being on my show. If you're interested in checking out the videos Jhan was involved in making, or if you'd like to contact Jhan, please check out the description. Thanks everyone again for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.